When it comes to Epstein's connections with Israel, the links are so glaring that you have to make an active effort to ignore them. The stories are sitting right there, but a lot of the mainstream media has not even bothered to touch it. What has been remarkable instead is how so many outlets have pushed speculative notions about Epstein's connections to Russia.
Possible connections between convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein and Russian intelligence services.
Growing suspicions of a Russian connection.
Fueling speculation that Epstein could have been working for Russia.
It's worth noting Vladimir Putin's name is mentioned 1,000 times, about 1,000 times in these emails. It appears that Epstein really worked his contacts to set up a meeting with Putin, but it looks like it never happened. And there's certainly nothing in the files, at least the ones that have been reviewed so far, that indicate that Jeffrey Epstein was somehow an asset of Russian intelligence.
But that hasn't stopped news organizations from speculating on that, and they've been doing it for years, suggesting that the Russians had some compromising material on Trump, may have been blackmailing him. We're now seeing more and more on Epstein's ties to Israeli intelligence. We're even seeing images of those surveillance systems that Jeffrey Epstein had built into some of his properties, as though he's trying to gather more material that he can possibly use against people. But much like other angles relating to this, including Israel, we're not seeing that much coverage of it.
Yeah, and one of the few media outlets that has been doing coverage on the Israeli angles has, of course, been Dropsite News. So I asked Murtaza Hussain what he makes of mainstream media's silence on the Israeli story.
It's very well known that the corporate media in the US has difficulties covering the state of Israel. But I think that actually in this case, the problem goes even deeper because Epstein was specifically embedded in this network, which seemed to encompass the Labor Party in Israel and the Democratic Party in the United States, the Clintons and so forth. And even his ties to Donald Trump were kind of based on the fact that Donald Trump was a Democrat for most of his life. So a lot of these institutions, media institutions, which are sort of more center left leaning, they're really being asked to cover their own corruption in some way because he was very much part of that world. I'll give you an example. There was a gentleman at the New York Times, a columnist named David Brooks. He wrote an article late last year, basically expressing his view that the Epstein story should not be covered anymore, and he dislikes the coverage of it, and he dislikes the focus on it. Shortly after that story came out, a photo emerged of him basically at a meeting with Epstein, and he had not disclosed that in his column, which seems like a great ethical lapse. But that's just a microcosm of the main issue here,